The 32-bit era was full of new and inventive graphical effects, and I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and no game showed this off more than Mr. Bones for the Sega Saturn.
Second Opinion Games.
So Mr. Bones is a really cool action platformer with tons of other stuff going on. It was released for the Sega Saturn and is pretty much just a glorified tech demo, but it is the length of a full video game. It's perfect to play around Halloween, as pretty much every October you can see the price spike way up there, and then the rest of the year it drops back down. But the way things are going, it's probably going to stay high forever now because it's a Sega Saturn game, and that's just the way they work anymore. So Mr. Bones has blue eyes, meaning he still has a soul, unlike all of the other red-eye zombie bone creatures you come across. And I think it's appropriate to walk you through all the levels in this game to show you what the Sega Saturn really had up its sleeve. Starting with the first level, Grave Escape. It's an auto-scroller level. Yay, who doesn't love those? Except for the fact that this one is done really, really well. You're being chased by your red-eye brethren as they throw their bones at you, and all you have to do is withstand about 5 minutes or so of this, and you will clear the level. It's nothing particularly hard, and it does get you used to the controls even a little bit. Then we come to the mausoleum, where you're on top of a mausoleum, and tons of different red-eyed creatures try to slap you with their hands. And it's kind of like Simon Says, just avoid the slaps, collect the butterflies, and regain your health. That's really all there is to it. Then it brings us to the Valley, which is the first of the platform stages in this game. At this point in time, pay extra notice to your health bar, and when it starts to get low, then every time you jump and hit the ground, you're going to lose body parts. Now you can regain them by pressing a button that makes your body parts come back to you. However, there's also a button that makes you explode and shove all of your bones everywhere, but you won't need that until much later in the game. So this level, it's pretty easy, and in no time, you'll have it beat. We then come to our very first cutscene, which is a mix of CG and live action. Who doesn't miss the live action? We come across a drunken, blind Irishman who happens to be a musician because he has a guitar. Mr. Bones comes on in and tries to play. Now, how do we know this guy's blind? Well, because he doesn't notice that Mr. Bones is a skeleton. How do we know he's a musician? Well, because he offers up some really keen advice for any first-time guitar player.
Don't think about it, just play it.
And how do we know he's drunk? Well, because he's Irish. Which brings us to our next level, the guitar solo. Now, all I do here is tap the buttons in any random weird order, and eventually you win. I've never actually died on this level ever, but it's something to note how cool it actually is. Then we go to the cutscene where Mr. Bones' guitar disappears, and then it starts the Bats trilogy. Night of the Bat, Dawn of the Bat, and Day of the Bat. All of these are super annoying, extra long, hard platform levels where you continuously have to try and get your bones back from the bats, and it's kind of ridiculous in general. These levels are really annoying in their difficulty, and will really make you wonder why you're still playing this game. Which brings us to the next auto-scrolling level, Rolling Logs. This one reminds me of Jungle Hunt on the Atari 2600, only instead of running up the hill, you're trying to run down it. If you happen to clear this relatively easy level, which you should have no problem doing, then you'll come to another cutscene where your character comes across some drums and figures he might as well play them. This one's really not too hard to figure out, and I've beaten it every single time I've played it. Extremely easy level, and the drum sound is pretty cool. This is pretty neat, and I'm actually surprised these music stages even exist in any video game. Of course, when you beat it, you'll come across a portal, which you'll jump in, and another platforming stage. But don't worry, this one's not hard like the bats. This is just jumping from glass shards to glass shards, and at the end of it is another portal. Now the glass shards level does feel a little floaty in the controls. Something doesn't quite feel right, as if it's handled by two different teams, but you really won't have much problem with it. When you jump through the portal to the next level, you'll come across big bones, where things start to get really, really trippy. This level is just trying to bounce your skull around and collect your body parts back. If you happen to lose your skull and your body, well, then you get shoved back one level. And this level can go on for 20 minutes or more, depending how good or bad at it you are, and it's just really trippy and weird. Well then, another cutscene where an evil wraith comes at you, and because she's moderately attractive, you pull out your guitar and serenade her and get her to fall in love with you, as musicians tend to do that no matter how ugly they are. I mean, look at Aerosmith's, for God's sakes. And then she opens up a vortex for you to jump in, where you explode apart and you basically try to get your bones back in this very unique, cool level. It is pretty easy, but it's awesome to see this. Of course, then you fall back home and you end up underwater, which that means then you get to put in disc 2. That's right, this game is so huge, one disc couldn't hold it in. Then we start our underwater ride level, where this feels like a Sega CD game with slightly better graphics. This scene is actually really cool as well. I honestly very much like this one. But of course, that ride has to come to an end with another cutscene. This time you're strapped down Army of Darkness style by little gnomes. And this is just freaking hilarious. These little guys are just terrified, and they're getting picked off left and right by evil spiders. So then you enter a defender type level, where you have to save these little guys from the evil spiders. This is just hilarious how this game broke down into such... oh my god, I don't even know. So, jumping past this level, we then come to an icy lake. And again, it's a very, very difficult level because ice is now involved in the already floaty controls. And you're going to fall through the ice again and again. This one gets ridiculously difficult. Almost as bad as From Beneath the Ice, where the camera angle changes. Now you're on top of the ice, and you have to run in this very quick auto-scroll level. Now this level is only 30 seconds long, but you will die so many times because the slightest mistake means you're not going to pass the level. I hate this level so stinking much. Moving on. Now here at the Shadow Monster stage, you're going to be very confused on what to actually do. Let me help you out. There are 3 different posts in this level, and you have to jump on whatever eyes are blue. Every time you jump on it, things get a little more hectic with the shadows. The shadows can kill you, and things get really nuts here. The first couple tries is actually pretty easy, but towards the end, things get really difficult, and the more you get hit, the more you can't stay together, so your bones are going to flop about, and you're going to try and get them back, and things just get kind of hard here. Then we go into another cool cutscene where this time you're coming face to face with a freaking T-Rex, and then you have to fight this T-Rex. This boss battle is actually pretty epic until you figure out the pattern. And basically you're trying to unscrew these bolts, and then you'll free the dinosaur. He'll freak out after every time you try to unscrew it, and then rocks fall from the sky. This level, once you figure it out, like I said, pretty easy. We then come to a really cool cutscene where you find out that Tyrannosaurus Rex is actually pretty cool. And then he transforms into some type of flying creature for no reason whatsoever and takes you to the next level. the Hall of Pain. This is one of the most interesting levels in the entire game. It's full of 2D graphics flying through a 3D space where you have to avoid different barriers and fly through panes of windows. Now, the windows themselves tell a really cool story, and I just love this level for its art design and everything it has going on. You'll then come to another cutscene where you get sucked inside of something, and then you'll be spinning around in this overhead shooter stage where you have to continuously shoot up things and shoot up some skulls. Eventually you'll collect a blue skull and complete this very odd level, where then it brings you to another cutscene which introduces a very scary skeleton, which then comes to one of the coolest levels in the entire game, where you have to press the buttons to say different parts of a joke, get them all in the right order, and tell a joke to this guy. If he laughs, he'll back up, and you have to tell more and more jokes. Again, another ridiculous level, but this one's actually pretty cool.
Why do ants hide behind trees to trip elephants?
We then, of course, enter another cutscene where this creepy vampire-looking guy explains pretty much everything he's trying to do, and you get your guitar back, sending us into the very last level of the game, where things get crazy again, as now you are just trying to collect red stuff with your guitar and fire it back and destroy the barrier. It's, again, like an Atari 2600 game I used to play, and is actually pretty easy. You'll complete this one, maybe even your first try. Then we come to the very last cutscene, where our very evil villain just rambles on and on and on. So long, in fact, that the sun actually rises and kills him. Yeah, that's it. He died of natural causes. I mean, the sun would have came up no matter what. Maybe he wouldn't have been as distracted, but I'm surprised this guy even lived that long to begin with. And then the Wraith shows back up, and you think, hey, I might as well go with her and probably bone her somehow, because you're Mr. Bones after all. So that was the full game. And is it worth it? Well, yeah, the story's actually kind of fun. Most of the levels are pretty good. I like telling the jokes. I like the guitar solo stage, even if it is super easy. And Hall of Pain is one of my favorite levels ever in a video game, just for the visuals and the storytelling without actually having any words. This game is actually pretty good and can be had at a decent price for a Sega Saturn game after all. And I really think you should sit down and play it, probably every October, because it really sets the mood for Halloween. And of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I actually had a pretty frustrating time filming it because this game can be really too hard at spots and easy on others. And I want to hear from all of you guys. What's your favorite game to play in the month of October? And what's your favorite game to play on Halloween? I already did a list of my favorite games to play on Halloween, so you might as well just check out that video. And I want to hear from you, so maybe I could do another one. And until later, I'll see you again, guys.